think it is good that on a positive note, we're way ahead of time and we do have about 17 minutes for questions. So I'm going to open it up to the floor now and ask if there are any particular questions for any of our speakers, or indeed if there is maybe, you know, a particular question or something that you'd like to put to all the speakers. So, hands, yes. So I've got one here and one. Okay, so Tobias.
My name is Tobias from Germany, and I have some thoughts around the presentation from domestic violence. And the first thing which went across my head was, what is really domestic violence? Who is defining what is domestic violence and who's reporting that violence? Is it one parent? Is it somebody else? Is it a child? Was it really the child's will, or was it something that was said to the child? And what kind of violence is it all about? No? Are we talking about physical violence only? Is there some psychological violence involved? And maybe is the psychological violence connected to the physical violence? And going on is, at the end of the day, you might be labeling somebody as an abuser. And the question is there one abuser? Or are there abusive parents? And is there one victim? Maybe there's a main victim. Maybe it's not the victim who seems to be the victim. And is it really in the child's safety to eliminate one of these parents? Or might that even be dangerous for the safe of the child? Because the child's safety seems to be, at least in real life, if I look at my own country, a really very important thing. And the next question is, if you will eliminate a parent, will this not really heat up the whole conflict and not cool it down? No? So I was also thinking, when I saw some presentation from people from third world countries, I have some personal experience. I might want to share just slightly with you. A guy from Kenya, which is connected to me, and we went together on Mount Kenya. So you have 5 days where you walk up a mountain and you have plenty of time to experience and share experience. And what I can tell you is, what I felt is, there is parental alienation, and it's from the father's side, it was even accepted. It was like, it's normal, hey, it's a mother, yeah, the mother is the owner of the child, so I'm just a co-parent. So if I'm being alienated, I have to accept it. It's normal, accept it. So there was something I just wanted to add, because sometimes I feel a lack of this side, yeah, where you see, hey, there's a very, if you talk about third world countries, oh, that's a totally different view. And I personally had the experience, no, it's not the case. It's exactly the same, but nobody really talks about it. No? Yeah, I think that was basically it. And I don't know, the lady who was doing the presentation, she did it online, so I don't think she's available. But oh, okay, that would be great.
I was saying, I wonder, if you're online, would you like to respond to anything that Tobias has said?
Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
No, okay.
Hello?
Tobias, thank you for those comments. I don't know if any of the other speakers would like to comment just before I go to the next. Okay, we'll go to the next question.
I'm familiar with working with domestic violence. What is violence? Violence is what gets to people's integrity, either psychological or physical or sexual is physical, but it's what gets to someone's integrity and deteriorate it. And domestic violence is violence that occurs within a family. You're right, it's not so easy to always know who is the perpetrator. With a systemic approach, we have a different view of what happens. But anyways, violence at home involving the children, it always involves the children, may it be addressed directly to the children or not, is not acceptable because it damages the children. It doesn't mean we have to exclude per force one of the members of the family. It means we need to address the situation to stop the violence, I think. And yeah. Oh, sorry. I'm Isabel Ristina Zuber. I'm a therapist and I'm the head of the Swiss Movement for Responsible Co-Parenting.
Thanks, Elizabeth. And I think it's interesting that you mentioned integrity. You mentioned integrity then, didn't you? And that sort of, in a way, brings us back to Edward when he was opening the opening plenary, and he was talking about the importance of growth and integrity. And it was something, there wasn't enough time really to, in fact, there were no opportunities to ask questions, but if I hadn't had an opportunity, I think I would have asked him to follow up on that issue of integrity as a sort of an umbrella term for a lot of the things he went on to speak about. And I don't know, Elizabeth, just before I hand the mic over, is there something you would like to say more about integrity? Because it seems to be sort of key to what you were saying. We have, okay. Right, we'll hold that thought because we do have Oluwaseun. And hello, Oluwaseun, thank you for joining us. So we there was a question, Tobias, would you like to phrase some of the, is there a way you could phrase some of the comments?
I got the question. I got the question.
Oh, good. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. And someone already responded to it, and I agree with it that it's anything that is against the integrity, you know. And with my research, I used the definition of the Council of Europe that define domestic violence as all acts of physical, psychological, economical violence that occur within the family environment against anyone in the family. I do understand that IPV, the intimate partner violence, is also a part of domestic violence in the family. And my research is focused on when both IPV and DV, that is the domestic violence, happens and the child is in the family. It wouldn't have been possible for me to just work with IPV because I was interested in the child, because there are families, there are couples without kids. And in the countries I'm working with, if there will be IPV, they do not really respond to it because there's no child in the family. So most times when we have DV, domestic violence, one of the results of my thesis is that IPV and DV, they occur simultaneously in the family. And some countries now are getting to women through the child, because in the school, you notice the child has bruises or the child is not concentrating, there's a problem. And through that, they are able to help women that are not opening up about domestic violence or IPV. And when we go inward and talk about IPV and DV, we discover that sometimes the violence is from someone in the family, the uncle, this brother of the husband abusing the woman, and it's affecting the child. So somebody said that domestic violence is complex. It's really complex. And that is why it's difficult to study only IPV in a family environment, especially when you have the whole family. And now it's better to study IPB and focus on the child. How do we support the child? Which one is the child experiencing? And how do we help the child to, heal from this experience?
Okay. Thank you. And thank you for that response. And, clearly from that, we can understand that domestic violence is complex. So thank you for your response. I do want to get as many questions as we can in. So I'm going to, yes, we'll.
I would like to thank all the speakers and especially Dana. Her story reminds us of what is motivating us. Also, as I'm a medical doctor, and my experiences with extended families, with my extended family and with my medical doctoring or as a family physician reminds us of the importance of this issue, and therefore it's very important that you stand up talking about it. My question goes to, or my challenge goes to Alex, because you are doing a very important research that is similar to my own research, but I've never thought of peer support as a consequence of broken relationships between the parents. So thank you very much. I will return to my own data and see what I can find out. But there is a challenge with all with one of your predictors, and that is the subcategories with living arrangements, because my experience is that in my own data, students have great problems with understanding all these sub-classifications.
Yes, I think it's much easier. That's why the original, those original classifications of parents together, parents separated was quite straightforward. So to try, and you're absolutely right, to try and get those different classifications is very difficult, and it does also depend on the level of data that's kept within the schools. So in a way, it's a sort of pilot in the sense of how much of that data can be collected as well. So it's not going to necessarily be that easy, because remember, this isn't data that's going to be collected from the respondents themselves. This is going to be variable data collected from the schools prior to the
It's not only divorce and separation that is answered in consequently matter, but it is also loss of a parent, loss of contact with a parent.
Okay, certainly. That's you're raising a very important point here, and that really is around I guess quantitative data collection, and it often is a blunt instrument, and that is why it's so important to have different methods to sort of explore some of the same topics, and why Dana's your talk, Dana, was incredibly powerful, and the importance of things like memoir as part of that. In a way, it only takes one sort of supernova to really help people understand the sort of gravity of the experience of in this instance parental alienation. So I do thank you for that. I haven't seen any more hands go up. We've got a couple of, oh yes, yeah, okay, we've got two.
Just a comment. Hello, I'm Yanis. I'm going to underline what Dr. Giancarlo, I'm saying the name right. There was a lady, I'm from a non-profit civil company. A child needs two parents, so we're fighting over the rights of children for having shared parenting, and they were fighting against parental alienation. So through this process, a lady approached us, and she said she was about my age, 46 years old, something like that. And she said, I've been a parental alienated child. So the problems that she had in her life, she never managed to escape the situation. And what I want to share is that what really struck me was that she said, I am still living with my abuser. She's in the next room. My mother, she's in the next room. I cannot escape her. I never managed to do something on my own. I never had confidence in myself, and I'm still living with her. She's 80 something, and I cannot escape her. This is a traumatic experience for us. We realize how deep this thing goes. I want to congratulate you for what you're doing. It's very important for people like you to come up and talk about it and voicing your life. And one last thing, I'm going to be really short, about domestic violence. I'm from Greece, so there is an effort to change the law about domestic violence. We've been trying to explain to the court system that domestic violence is psychological violence as well, and it covers parental alienation. The problem is that they do not accept parental alienation as a situation, and if they don't see blood and bruises, it's not violent behavior. So that's what I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you. So we've got time for, okay, I think we'll have to make this the last one.
Okay, I just want to make a comment about this social insulation and peer support, because I work with children whose parents are divorced, and those parents, they don't have lost their parent, their parents just have divorced, and we have peer groups for these children, and those peer groups, we ask that what is the most helping thing here when you come here and meet other kids whose parents are divorced, what is helping you? And they say that I have a feeling that I'm the only one who has experienced this. Even in Finland, half of the marriages end up to divorce. So every kid knows someone else who has experienced parents' divorce, but still they think that I'm the only one. And when they start talking, then they actually get the feeling of belonging somewhere. They are not those only ones. So I don't know why they experience it, but I think it's really common. Every kid who we talk to, they say the same thing. So you have something there.
Do you know, I really want to thank you for that last comment, and I'll tell you why. Because Edward has asked that all of the moderators come up with one key message from each of the sessions. And there have been so many different messages that I've been hearing today from the varied sort of research. But actually what you've just articulated is one of the things that I had down, and it's that importance of being able to talk about it, the importance of being able to share those experiences and so on. So I think that is sort of key to what I picked up, and in terms of the cross-cutting themes, you know, if there are any, I would say that's probably it, you know, from Dana's you know, memoir right the way through to some of the you know, the great work with you talking with your, you know, your students, and the ability to voice that, even if it's in a sort of secret ballot, but so many of your students wanted to take part. I mean, you know, 190 out of 240, you know, that's a great response rate, isn't it? So there is something about the need to be able to, the importance of having the opportunity to articulate those feelings. And if I make a final link, why is it important? Because it's healthy. And so it goes back to the, I think I would hope to that, you know, relational health idea. So if we link back to the theme of the conference, I think if it's okay with you, that's what I'll be reporting back to Edward about the importance of, you know, relational health, and in particular, the importance of being able to share those experiences and voice those experiences, and find out that actually that you're not alone, you know, not feeling that sort of social withdrawal and social isolation. Okay, so I shall round it up there. Thank you all for attending this session.